It's teaching people that you have more control over your body than you think you do, right? And so we have so much fear that we're going to do it the wrong way, or we have so much fear that we're diagnosed with X, Y, or Z, when in actuality, our bodies are really smart and they do know what to do. We get in the way a lot of times.
We are Gold Ivy.
Our mission is to empower you to own and unleash your truth.
Stories of resiliency are gold, and ivy grows in hard places.
Those hard places are what create space for light to shine through.
You decide what works for your daily life and how to transform our lessons into your gold.
This is Ivy Unleashed,
a Gold Ivy production. Let's talk about something foundational to your family's health that you might not even realize is an issue. Your cookware and bakeware.
That's right. We've all heard about clean eating, but what about clean cooking? For years, we've been told nonstick is the way to go for easy cleanup, but what if that convenience comes at a cost to your health?
Exactly. Our friends at Caraway have an origin story that really hit home for us. Their founder, Jordan Nathan, experienced what's called Teflon flu after accidentally overheating a traditional nonstick pan. It turns out it only takes 2.5 minutes for those pans to hit 500 degrees Fahrenheit and start releasing toxic chemicals.
And the problem is these aren't just any chemicals. We're talking about PTFE, also known as Teflon, and microplastics that can leach directly into your food that you're preparing for your family.
These are forever chemicals, folks. They enter the body and can take decades to leave, potentially leading to serious health risks like cancer or respiratory issues. Reading the research from the American Cancer Society and Good Housekeeping Institute was a wake-up call to realize what might be hiding in our kitchens.
And that's where Caraway comes in. They're on a mission to craft well-designed home goods that truly raise the standards of what you cook with. They've meticulously thought through every single detail, from the unboxing experience to how their products store in your home. The look, the feel. We're in a season where less is more. It's better for your health. It's better to look at. You've seen Caraway everywhere, and it's for a reason.
I went with the squareware and cookware set. Not only is it beautiful, but the relief I feel knowing the daily pancakes, pasta, and protein I'm heating up isn't causing harm to my kiddos is priceless.
Caraway has revolutionized kitchenware by offering a non-stick ceramic coating that's mineral-based. That means no toxic materials leaching into your healthy ingredients. It's easy to use, easy to clean, and you don't have to worry about those forever chemicals.
So if you're ready to remove harmful microplastics and toxic chemicals from your family's meals and truly elevate your cooking experience, it's time to switch to Caraway.
Head over to their website today. You can find the link in our show notes. And for a special thank you to our listeners, use code GOLDIVY at checkout for 10% off your Caraway products. Make the switch for a healthier you and a healthier home.
Who wants to know what I discovered that's an absolute game changer with my hormones, stress level, and quality of my sleep? I am not one to talk about supplements, but after learning all about magnesium, I have to fill you in. In May of last year, I tested my hormones and my doctor explained to me that most women are deficient in magnesium, how important magnesium is, and how the brand of magnesium matters. First, magnesium is involved in hundreds of biochemical reactions in your body. Cortisol regulation, take magnesium. Better sleep, magnesium. Muscle soreness and recovery, magnesium. Combat depression and anxiety, magnesium. The list of magnesium's benefits go well beyond those examples. I asked for the best brand of magnesium and my doctor said hands down, Smidge. She prefers Smidge because it's super clean and made in small batches. No fillers or common allergens and non-GMO. Smidge's magnesium is made with a premium form of magnesium called glycinate complex. After taking the 100 milligram capsule of Smidge Evening Magnesium every night for just a week, I noticed how much better I felt in the morning. Melatonin and other sleep aids can make me groggy or give me weird dreams. Smidge's magnesium has improved my energy levels, reduced my anxiety, and my digestive health has never been better. I do my best to take it every single night to keep reaping all the benefits. I'm telling you, Smidge Magnesium is a game changer. The majority of adult women are deficient in magnesium, and we don't want you to be one of them. To experience the health benefits of Smidge Evening Magnesium as soon as possible, go to getsmidge.com or find the link in the show notes and be sure to use code GOLDIVY10 for a 10% discount. That's getsmidge.com and code GOLDIVY10 at checkout, and let us know how great Smidge Magnesium makes you feel as well. And now to this episode of the Ivy Unleashed podcast. Welcome back to Ivy Unleashed. Today is awesome because Brooke gets to hang out with two Andreas. Woo-woo. We have Andrea Stone here. Yes. Welcome to Ivy Unleashed.
Thank you.
And just to give you a bit about Andrea Stone, we met her recently, but we're in the same community, and she recently opened a business in Maple Grove, which is really exciting. But the reason why we really want to talk to Andrea today is because she not only is certified in all of the things, she is a certified personal trainer, health and wellness coach, and an integrative nutrition provider that's taking all of her education and creating a space for people that is really healing. And we love talking with people about their resilience and what they've been through to get to this point. We know you have a wild story of your own journey.
I do.
I know you've had some autoimmune issues, some hip surgeries, a plethora of things. And so can you talk to us about kind of your journey of getting to this point where you felt called to start your business?
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks for having me. So when about 2017, I was diagnosed with hip dysplasia, and it kind of came as a complete surprise to me. So, back up in my life, I was always a super competitive athlete.
Hockey player
and soccer player. So I was a goalie and I played hockey, and I did it my entire life. And then one day, that competitive athlete just stuck with me, and I continued forward. I ran marathons. I did a bodybuilding competition, which was awesome and awful all in the same situation. And I loved that competitive spirit. And so I just kept pushing my body and pushing the limits for myself. And I started having hip pain. Didn't really know what it was. I was like, well, this is annoying. And ended up going to the world renowned surgeon who happens to be in Minnesota for hip labral issues. And he said, I'm sorry, I can't help you. And I was just looked at him and I was like, huh? This is supposed to be easy. This is supposed to be you go in, you scope it, we move on, and in 8 weeks I'll be back in the gym. And he just kind of looked at me. He's like, that's adorable. But no, that's not the situation. So I ended up going to Mayo, and they told me that I had hip dysplasia and that I had to have a series of surgeries. And they were very extensive surgeries. So I ended up having 6 of them in total in a 2-year time span.
Oh my.
So when I say that I've lived in a capable body and a disabled body, I've literally done it all. I think my claim to fame is that I've taken my first step 7 times now.
Oh man.
And it's kind of one of those things that in all of it, it's the biggest blessing in disguise, which is really weird and kind of twisted to say. But it really is, because it led me to where I am today. So I've had multiple surgeries, multiple different healings. I've met people all along the way to help me out. And I learned that you are capable of much more than you ever think you're capable of. And that goes to absolutely everything in every facet of our life. So in the process of all of this, of taking care of myself, I was in a wheelchair and I was on crutches for about 2 years. We trained a puppy while I was on crutches, and I would just crutch around, and I'd drop my crutch and pick it up. And I'm like, well, he's not gonna be scared of anything anymore. And we, my kids learned what it was like to have people stare at you, right? At a really young age, because they would see me as mom and I would be in a wheelchair. And I would just, it kind of showed our children that everybody is a human, whether or not they're able to walk, whether or not they're able to talk or anything. Yeah. So there was a lot of valuable life lessons. I learned to keep my mouth shut when my husband didn't do the dishes because I needed his help getting up the stairs or, getting undressed to go take a shower or anything of that nature. So we learned a lot of lessons along the way.
How old were your kids when you were having surgeries?
Yeah, good question. I think kindergarten and 3rd grade, I think, was when we started the journey. So, I came home from one of my surgeries during the first day of school. So I should not have come home, but I came home because I refused to miss their first day of school. So I literally, my husband was like, you're crazy. We're not doing this. You're staying in the hospital. I'm like, no, we're going to go home. I want the picture of the kids getting on the bus. And he was like, you gotta be kidding me.
Wow.
But what they did in the surgeries essentially is they take your acetabulum, which is your hip joint, and they cut it into 3, and they break like part of your tailbone and your hip joint, and then they put 6-inch screws and 3 of them throughout the hip joint itself to create more coverage over the socket. Wow. And so I've had that done on both hips now. And those are the biggest of all of the surgeries. But yeah.
What is your pain like today?
I have it every day. But it's kind of one of those things that it's just a part of me now. Like my biggest thing is when I created the business that I created was I don't want people to be labeled by their diagnosis, right? Like in the industry, in the healthcare industry in general, so much of what somebody is labeled at is what they absorb and they take on. And I think we can talk about that later. But that for me was something that I learned really quickly, that I could either be Andrea Stone or I could be Andrea Stone with really bad hips. And I've chosen to remain Andrea Stone, who sometimes has some really annoying hips. But you know, on a day-to-day basis, we just keep plugging away.
And today you're walking.
Yeah.
You're doing Pilates.
Yeah.
You are not in a wheelchair. And so, you know, I think being on this side, I don't want to say it's easy to see the blessings, but you're able to see the light in that darkness. Yeah. What about when you were in it? What was that stress and your mental health like, and how did you get to where you are today? Yeah.
So I think, you know, that's a loaded question. During it, I didn't think there was ever going to be an end in sight, right? And in fact, in all actuality, I was supposed to have another surgery and then COVID hit. So I was going to go to Boston to get another opinion from somebody else. And then it was literally like March of 2020 that I was going to fly out. And I was like, well, that's not happening. And so I was stuck during COVID, trying to figure out what to do next. And I couldn't do anything. And there was a person that was doing a breathing course, and it was all virtual, right? And I was like, well, what else am I going to do? I'm sitting in my basement by myself anyways, you know? So I was like, oh, wow, this is actually really cool. Like for the very first time in my life, I'm actually breathing. And I didn't really realize how much my nervous system was so on fire in fight or flight mode during that time, right? I chalked it up to, I'm just stressed. This hurts. I'm in chronic pain. I've been on crutches for 2 years. Of course, everything's going to hurt. I didn't realize how much was just stored in my body from that fight or flight. And so when I started breathing and started actually like focusing on other areas of my body beyond my hips, all of a sudden, my hips weren't the center of my attention anymore. And that was kind of the catalyst to kind of help me slowly get out of what I needed to kind of move forward, I think.
I feel like I hear that a lot. Like people that do get certified as like a breath, you know, there's lots of different certifications for it, but it's like a lot of us don't realize how shallow our breath is and how important it is for regulating our nervous system. I know that's a huge part of what you do with people is regulating their nervous system, giving them a safe place so they can actually even heal. Yeah. So can we talk about that connection and what you've seen with kind of breath work in the midst of movement and Pilates?
Sure, absolutely. So breath work is one of those things. Well, Pilates is really the connection of breath, your mind, your posture, and strength, right? Pilates has this known, I want to say stereotype, right? As a specific person, you were either a dancer, you were a ballet, you're this individual that is this perfect physique that's going to walk in with the perfect set of clothing, and you're going to just be this like long, gorgeous lines, right? I mean, get me on a reformer. You guys, I am like the girl who could go up into like throwing a football and punch a hole in the wall type situation, right? That's probably a horrible analogy, but I'm not a graceful human.
You're not a ballerina.
I am not a ballerina. I skated my whole life, okay? So if I can do it, anybody can do it, I guess is my point. But what helped me was really actually engaging my breath by using my diaphragm, right? So your diaphragm is connected to your hips and your pelvic floor. Well, when you have 6 hip surgeries and you have multiple children, shocking, your pelvic floor isn't what you once thought it was. So for me, it was the connection of everything, right? I have TMJ from, clenching all of the time. Well, that is a direct correlation to your breath, and it's a direct correlation to your pelvic floor. So for me, it was once you learn how to actually breathe and take a true diaphragmatic breath, you realize that like half the time when you're sitting here talking to your friends, you're just holding in and you don't even know you're doing
I feel like I'm doing that.
You probably are.
Yes.
Right? Like, so if you can just think about like multiple times throughout the day, just taking an actual breath, you'd be shocked at what it does to your nervous system. So, the environment that we have at TruePath is for people to be able to walk in the door however they are that day and come in. And if you need to just sit down and breathe and we need to talk through things, we'll talk through things. If you want to sit and move, then we move and we can talk through things. Or we can focus on posture. There's so many different avenues, but breathwork really is one of the keys to nervous system regulation. I think the other component to it really is this building capacity. And what I mean by that is you can be as mindful as you possibly want, right? You can do all the gratitude, you can do all of the journaling, you can do everything, but life is going to throw stuff at you left and right. And it's how do you build that tolerance window and that threshold of tolerance higher to be able to take on the next, firestorm that comes your way, the next email from work that was read or toned at you in a way that you wish it wasn't, that normally would get your nervous system firing, but now you're like, okay, it is what it is.
So you help people kind of have the tools to cope with those things or the skills so that when those things happen, they're more like, okay, let me get my body, let me breathe,
Yeah. It's teaching people that you have more control over your body than you think you do, right? And so we have so much fear that we're going to do it the wrong way. Or we have so much fear that we're diagnosed with X, Y, or Z, when in actuality, our bodies are really smart and they do know what to do. We get in the way a lot of times.
I feel like that's like freedom. When you're like, well, of course it made me anxious or that happened and I flipped out. It's like, well, what if that happened, it's outside of you, and you learn from Andrea how to breathe through it or get some moves or hire a coach to help you kind of cope with those situations so that like you give it permission to enter your body or not.
Yeah. And if it does enter your body, that's okay. But it's how do you like free it from your body so it's not with you and you're not ruminating over it all day long.
Yeah. What advice do you give for that? Because I think, a lot of people when you're in the midst of it, it's tough.
Oh, it's so tough. And I don't think it's one specific piece of advice, right? This stuff takes time. I mean, you guys, I'm 8 years out of all of this. And the other day something happened in my house and I was like freaking out, right? But what I learned in that situation is I can get myself out of it a lot faster, right? So the thing I love to do with people is kind of life mapping. And so what you do is like you write down like, Brooke, if I asked you, what is the one thing that you would identify yourself to? Like what's one key word that you would identify as?
Oh. We're coming at you with important information, warnings, and a solution. Sharing health and wellness gold with you is what we do. And so when we learned alarming information about devices that we routinely use, and we know you do too, we have to share it with you.
What most people don't realize is that the electronic devices we're using, cell phones, Wi-Fi, laptops, and Bluetooth, emit electromagnetic fields, or EMFs. The devices we're holding by our brains, on our skin, by our reproductive parts are emitting EMFs, and prolonged exposure to EMF radiation has been associated with potential health concerns, including neurological effects, impacts on reproductive health, and sleep disturbances.
Those studies alone are a cause for pause. but also the International Agency for Research on Cancer that operates under the World Health Organization has classified non-ionizing EMFs produced by electronic products like cell phones, smart devices, and tablets a possible human carcinogen. Yikes.
And our solution? SafeSleeve. SafeSleeve anti-radiation products are designed to give you peace of mind of knowing you and your devices are protected while making your devices even easier to use. All of their anti-radiation products incorporate their lab-tested shielding technology that can block over 99% of RF and 92% of ELF radiation. And that's important because the vast majority of products that claim to block EMF radiation either don't have any testing at all, or they only block a small portion of the harmful frequencies.
We absolutely love the sleek look of these stylish products. They come in a variety of styles and colors. For our phone cases, I picked black, Andrea picked tan, and they include a built-in wallet with RFID protection and a magnetically detachable inner case. They're also anti-radiation products for tablets, iPad, and laptops.
We are pumped because we have been looking for a brand to help protect ourselves and our loved ones from this radiation for months. My kiddos have the iPad cases. Searching for a brand with stylish phone cases, colorful iPad colors, and functional headphones for our workouts, so that we can enjoy our devices, but also not have to worry about how they're harming us.
And without a doubt, it's time to protect ourselves. Grab your SafeSleeve phone case today and any of their other groundbreaking products at safesleevecases.com and use our code GOLDIVY for 15% off. Keeping the flu and common cold out of your household is important whether you're 5, 35, or 95, and we're going to tell you the easiest and most delicious way to do just that. It's with All Things Elderberry, a woman-owned business that has all-natural, vegan-friendly, and gluten-free elderberry products.
And when we say products, we mean a variety of delicious and beautiful products, not just for you, but for your entire household to get an immunity boost. If we had to pick our favorite product, I'm going with organic elderberry gummies. My kids are obsessed. We're trying to avoid sickness from school and make sure they can participate in their sports, so they take one every morning before they brush their teeth. They think the gummies taste like a mix of grape and cotton candy. I tried them too, and I can see why they ask for them every day. I love that they're boosting their immune system at the start of their day.
My favorite All Things Elderberry product is the elderberry green tea paired with the elderberry honey. The green tea gives me a midday boost, and the honey gives the tea extra sweetness. I also put the honey in my morning coffee instead of creamer. So good. All Things Elderberry is my solution for staying healthy before traveling, avoiding frequent colds and sinus infections, really just maintaining my health all year round.
What sets this brand apart from the others is there are no artificial additives in All Things Elderberry. Their elixir is made with organic, Missouri-grown elderberries, raw honey, and whole spices.
Elderberries not only help with immune support, but may also slow the aging process with their powerful antioxidants, improve skin health, and can shorten the duration of severity of colds and flu.
Visit allthingselderberry.com to explore their full range of immune-supporting products. Stay healthy and feel your best naturally. Use our code GOLDIVY at checkout for 15% off your first order. That's code GOLDIVY at checkout for 15% off your first order.
One word I would identify as.
It's hard.
It is hard.
Yeah. So that's exactly my point.
It's like, I don't want to just be one thing.
Right. So for me, when I was in the thick of, like, you asked me how my mental health and everything was going when I was going through everything. I remember, like, vividly in the middle of January a couple years ago being like, I don't even know who I am anymore. I'm a mother. I'm an employee. I'm a boss. I'm
A wife.
I'm a sister. I'm a daughter. I'm all those things. But, like, none of that is me, right? Like, who am I? And so I was sitting there with a piece of paper and I was like, cool. This is a blank piece of paper. It took me a year, you guys, to figure out what the word was that, like, identified myself.
What was it?
Authentic. But what I realized in the authenticness was I wasn't living my life authentically. So I had to take steps to get myself to that actual word. So what I tried to do is, this is what I wanted it to be, right? And I wrote down, and I just spidered, took a map and just kind of like spider brain dump everything that came to my head. And some of it was family, and some of it was career, and some of it was education, and some of it was finances, and like friendships, relationships, anything I could think of, my health. And I just wrote down everything. And then when I looked at it, there was very clear to me that there was connections like all the way around that led me to think, I'm just not doing what I'm supposed to be doing. And it's, facilitating and like screwing, I don't want to say screwing up, that's the wrong term, but impacting the rest of my life. And I need to do something about it because I have the ability to do something about it. It's just really scary.
Yeah. It's like, who do I want to be in each of these categories?
Yeah.
I feel like too, whenever you hear of someone that has like an autoimmune issue or a mental breakdown or like super high anxiety, like the thing that fixes it a lot of time is coming back to your authentic, like you're not living in alignment of the life that you want. And the second that process of getting through that and you start to live more in what feels aligned in your life, a lot of like the anxiety kind of goes away because then like you feel more like at home or something. It's like, it sounds kind of woo-woo-y, but I feel like the authenticity is so important when it comes to your health and how it's functioning with depression, anxiety, or autoimmune issues. Like, have you seen that at all?
Yes. So part of this, like that January of when I was kind of going through this a couple of years ago, I was actually diagnosed with Graves' disease, Hashimoto's, thyroid eye disease, and they were looking at other types of like potentially like arthritis, lupus type components, which those didn't pan out to be. And I was traveling a lot for work. I was very stressed out, super busy at work, super busy with children and, assisting. I have a daughter who is chronically ill. And so that took a lot of my capacity to help her, and I would do it all over again. But what I didn't realize in the process of going through all of that was I wasn't really taking care of myself, right? And so then all of a sudden, all of these autoimmune issues started creeping in. And so I ended up coming home from a trip for work, and my stomach hurt really bad, which ended up being a random case of acute pancreatitis. Now, a healthy 40-some-year-old woman who isn't drinking, right, shouldn't be just getting acute pancreatitis. Like, that's just not something you get. They're like, we're going to put you on a feeding tube if you don't stop. You're going to have to stay in the hospital for a week. And I was like, okay, well, we're not doing that. So tell me what my protocol is, and I'm going to go home and figure it out. But all of it was like when I took a step back and they were saying all of the different things that I needed to do to help myself were all medical interventions, right? And I was like, I feel like there's more to this than that. It's not just let's pump another drug into me or let's do a surgery to get your thyroid removed. For me, it was like, clearly this is like a wake up call that like, I'm not doing something in my life that I'm supposed to be doing. My body is telling me something. So I went ahead and I was like, okay, this is the beginning. And that is actually when I started doing the journaling and trying to figure out in the life mapping of what I wanted to do, which led me to where I am. And I have noticed like my labs, everything has just kind of come into existence. Like I will always have issues, right? But they're manageable. They're all, at this point in my life, they're manageable. And I do believe it's because I'm living more what my true intent is supposed to be, which is like my true path forward versus living a life that I thought I was supposed to live.
Is that why you named it True Path?
It is. It is. Like, because I want everybody to be able to follow their true path. And like, there is no correct true path, right? Mm-hmm. What's right for you isn't right for Andrea. So, that's exactly why I did it.
Mm-hmm. What's that journey been like now helping your daughter find her true path?
Well, she is an amazingly resilient being. So she has, was diagnosed with chronic Lyme's disease, and she has POTS and a couple other things. And, she actually has taught me probably more than I have taught her to be honest. She has taught me that she was the reason why I actually got into what I got into. So when we were going through trying to get her diagnosed, she was 13, I believe, fully functioning, skating, playing hockey 6 days a week. To all of a sudden, one day, I just can barely get up the stairs. I'm in horrible chronic pain. My feet hurt. My feet hurt led to every ounce of her body hurting. And we went and saw, I don't even know how many doctors. Honestly, I bet you 50 to 100 doctors. I'm not even exaggerating. All different types. And everybody was just like, yeah, well, it is what it is. Like, we don't know how to help, right? At least that's what we absorbed. So I would write down all of the notes, and she had detailed notes, and this kid took on more blood draws than anybody I've ever seen in my entire life. Like, as a joke, she bought a phlebotomy kit on Amazon and started learning phlebotomy for fun. Just because, why not have a fake arm with saline bags in your room? Because what else are we going to do at this point?
She's like, I can do it better than you.
Literally, I think I would actually trust her to draw my blood before some of these phlebotomists, to be honest with you. No diss on phlebotomists. But so she went through, and she's just taught me that you're capable. You know, I look at her now 4.5 years later, and through all of this, she still struggles on a day-to-day with with symptoms and pain. But my goodness, talk about mind over matter. That girl is functioning and cruising through life. And it's so fun to watch. It is so fun. And I think it's because she's getting excited. She's getting ready to go to college. I didn't know if there was a day she was going to get to go to college, like, and there were days where we'd put her to bed, and I honestly didn't know if she was going to wake up the next day. And that's heartbreaking, right? I mean, the things she would come to us with, like, all of a sudden her mouth would be blue and her arms would be blue, and I was like, oh my gosh. And then we'd rush to the hospital, and they'd be like, oh, she's fine. I'm like, well, that's
something's wrong here.
That's not fine. Like that, like,
what if it was your kid with a blue arm and a blue mouth?
Yeah. And then they'd be like, well, we don't know what it is, keep following up with your providers. But through all of it, we just got really creative between her and I. And what I learned is the more we focused and made it the center of attention, the more stressed out we both got. So for a while, we took a little step back from discussing it. That does not mean she didn't have pain during that time. She absolutely did. But she got off all of the supplements and all of the drugs and everything that she was on. And then when she was ready, and when her body was ready to try the next thing, we tried the next thing. And we probably took about, 4 to 6 months break, maybe. And then she was ready again. And we got really creative, and she did this like vagal nerve stimulation thing. And I don't think there was one thing that helped her specifically. But she definitely has shown me that you are not a diagnosis, and you are capable of doing absolutely anything. So I was like, okay, not a single person was available to us when we needed it at all. So I have to be able to do it for somebody else. And that's kind of where I got to where I am today.
What do you mean available? Do you guys really say more on that?
Yeah. So what we really needed was some sort of advocate for us, right? And we didn't have that. I was well versed in the medical community because my corporate job was working in the medical device industry, and I did clinical research for a living. So I knew how the healthcare system worked. I also knew from my own experiences that with my hip stuff, that nobody else is going to help you unless you speak up for yourself. Yeah. So I believe that there was a reason why I was given the journey I was given with all of my hip stuff and the chronic pain before my daughter got it, right? It was this moment of like, I'll never understand her pain, but I understand the need for figuring it out. Mm-hmm. Nobody was able to advocate for us. And it became a full-time job for us, right? Trying to figure stuff out.
Well, and even like with Brooke going to her doctor appointments, like I've gone with her before, and it's like you're saying the same thing. It's like you're repeating your story again, and you're hopeful they're going to listen. You have no idea who this person, I mean, maybe you have some type of review or something, but like, I think of like compassion and empathy and like how much that's missing in this space and how much you need it. Like, I think your daughter is doing better because she had you to give her that. You didn't burn out. And I'm sure there was times it was hard to.
Yeah, she would probably tell you that I wasn't as compassionate as she wanted.
Well, and even like taking a step back of like not talking about it so much, but I think, I know part of your mission is to provide a space that's empathetic for people because they don't receive it. There's a time crunch on the appointments, and there's, maybe you're not with a specialist or something. And so I'm curious about that piece of it. You wanted someone to advocate for you. And when I think about that, I think of like someone providing empathy for you to be like, I hear you. I wrote down your whole story, and like, let's share it together because this is important for us to be heard.
Yeah. So you mentioned, Brooke's health history, right? One thing I know that for us that got beyond exhausting was explaining the story over and over again. And depending on your mood that day, you just left certain things out, right? I'm like, this person's not listening. It doesn't even matter. Like, let's just move on. We're here for this one refill of something or other, right? So one thing that I started doing, and I did it for myself and for my daughter, actually my daughter created it for herself because she was submitting it as herself as a case study for somebody to look into. And then I did it for myself, was I literally wrote everything out. So when I go to a doctor's office now, instead of filling it all out, I just hand it to them. If you want to take the time and read it, this is about me. This is my history. Here's my labs. Here's everything. And if you don't want to, then okay.
I don't want you
then
to be
I don't want you to be my doctor.
Yeah.
But that's one thing that I started doing with some people is let's write out your health history. Let's make this easier for you and take off the stress, because every time we said it out loud, it becomes further ingrained in who we are, right? And then I'm
this is my story, and
this is my story.
This
This
is
is
what I'm
how I
identifying
identify.
with.
Yeah. And so if I can just hand it over and go, okay, but right now we're here for a solution. There is a problem, but I want to talk about the solution. I don't want to like spend 30 minutes on the problem with you. I want to use your time to help me in a different way. That has been something that's been really helpful for people, and has helped them become the advocate for themselves instantly when they walk in the door. Yeah. Right. And so now all of a sudden, like, they're taking charge of their own health without anybody asking them a question first. Now the doctor knows, okay, this person's serious. No, not all doctors are going to feel like that's a good thing per se, but it has been something that has helped them, because then the brain gets to like dump it, right? It's down. I don't have to remember it right now. It's here.
And when you've gone through so much, it's exhausting to remember. Like, how is the human brain capable of remembering all of these details over the last,
as well as my
5 years?
list.
Yes. And it's anxiety provoking, at least for me, to go see a new doctor, explain it. So I think just taking that just load off of my brain, my nervous system, is really helpful. You mentioned a lot about identifying with that. I'd love to dive into that. What have you found over the years with you, your daughter, about holding space for, this is my truth, this is my story, but I don't want this to be my end?
Yeah. I mean, I can't speak for my daughter because she would probably say something different. I don't know what she would say. But for me, it's just been like, I know there's more to me than just my health. Now, just my health is a huge statement, right? Your health is everything. But I know that if I manifest and I believe that I'm capable of doing things, and I start to peel back that onion layer of what is the limiting beliefs that are allowing me to think that I'm not capable, that is what becomes freedom, right? So it's kind of peeling back that onion layer. I kind of call myself a recovering perfectionist, very much still in recovery. But that is something that has been very freeing for me, is realize like, you can't be perfect. Your health isn't going to be perfect. You can't be perfect. you know, you're going to screw things up along the way, and that's actually called growth, and that's okay. And like, it's the same thing with movement. There's no such thing as bad movement. There's none. Just move. Don't be scared. Try it. It might hurt the next day. You learned something from that, right? Yeah. That's how you learn where your thresholds of capacity are. And then you go, okay, now I know I'm going to do it differently tomorrow, or I'm going to try a different type of movement, or I'm going to experiment with something else.
I love that. It sounds like you're really open. And then, you know, thinking of being a client of yours, I would feel like I don't have to be this expert at Pilates coming in there. You know, like,
oh my gosh,
I could come in and be like, this is what I like to do. I want to try what you're doing, you know? And so it's nice. And when I think of like a path, it's like, this can go in whatever direction, but if it's my true path,
yes,
then we can honor that. Whether it's, like you said, sitting here coaching and talking about things, if it's breathing, if it is movement. So I love that you kind of have that openness, because I feel like if someone's coming there and they haven't been heard, they're in pain, or they know they need to heal, what they need is someone that will listen to what's right for them, which is beautiful that's what you're doing.
Yeah. Thank you. Yeah. I think first off, I am not an expert in Pilates. I won't claim to be an expert at anything. You know, my goal is that you take a movement and then you show them how they can do it at Lifetime, right? Or LA Fitness, or at home in their basement, right? So yeah, you don't have access to a reformer every single day, but guess what? You don't need to, right? It's showing somebody that their body is able to do something. Go home and play around, roll around on the floor. When was the last time you got around on the floor and like literally like somersaulted? I mean, like literally, right? I mean, my kids and I were doing like some flexibility challenge a couple weeks ago, just randomly on a Friday night because we were being dorks, and it was fun. You know, it was like, oh, let's see what you can do. You can't do that. I can do that. You know, like it, like just goof around. Like life is so serious that I think just exploring and like becoming almost a kid again. And I am not good at that all of the time at all. But I think that for me, it's having people come in, showing them that they're capable in whatever capacity their capability is, and then going out and say, go do it, and then come back, and then let's talk about it and fix, you know, whatever that you want to talk about in the future. But it's not that like you shouldn't need to be with somebody all the time, right? The goal is that individuals become empowered. They can understand their own self-awareness. They build strength. They build resilience. And then they're ready to go out into the world on their own. Right? So if I'm doing my job right, then they get to become free on their own. And they have more financial freedom, and they have more empowerment, and they get to just go and enjoy.
I love it. I'm so excited for all your clients. So this is in Minnesota, everybody. This is in Maple Grove, Minnesota. So if they want to connect with you, whether it's through social media, through your website, call you, you know, can you tell them the name of your business again and where they can find you?
Yep. It's True Path Wellness Collective. And then I have a website called www.truepathwellnessmn.com. Otherwise, you can follow me on Instagram, which is True Path Wellness MN. And my contact information is through all of those. So,
yes. What are you most proud of since starting your business?
I think I'm I'm the most proud of every single person that walks through the door. Because they're taking the step forward for themselves. Yeah. But I think for me personally, it's like just working through the fears of everything, right? Knowing that like, I don't have everything figured out. I'm going to tell the person that comes in, hey, look, like we're doing this together. So let's experiment and figure something out for you. And then let's move forward. And if it doesn't work, but my previous self would have made sure everything was perfect before I launched anything. And now my current self is like, this is where I'm supposed to be. And so we're just rolling with it.
Yeah. The messiness is good.
The messiness is scary and good. Yes. And messy.
Yeah. So we close every episode with 3 gold stars. You've shared so much wisdom in these last not even 40 minutes. But if you were to highlight 3 pieces of gold for our listeners, what would you share with them? 3 top takeaways.
Yeah, I would say there's no such thing as bad movement. Just move. And I would say movement is a privilege. So if you have the ability to move, just do it and honor it and be thankful that you get to, because there's so many people in this world that don't get to do what they want to do. So take every ounce of health and wellness that you have and appreciate it. The other is that you are not your diagnosis. Whatever that diagnosis is, it's a part of you, but it's not you. It's a part, but it's not you. And then lastly, I would say live your authentic life, however that's meant to be. Just follow your true path.
I love those. Those are so good, especially the first one. I'm like about to run 2 marathons.
Yeah, which is so exciting. I am not, so congratulations.
Well, and I just like sometimes when you get in your head, it's a mental game. Brooke knows. Oh, you both know. You both have ran marathons. That sometimes you got to channel something else. And so to think of people that would love to run a marathon when I want to like give up or I'm like, I'm going to be like, you know what?
These legs are working.
Yes. One step forward. I love that.
Yep. Literally.
Yeah.
Just be grateful that you got it.
Yes, for sure. All right. Next up is Unleashing Ivy. So things we're just curious about.
Oh gosh.
Okay. My question, if there's only one thing you can focus on to support your health, you can only choose one. What are you choosing?
Ooh, that is tough.
Mm-hmm. Tough, but good.
It is. I could only have one thing. I'm going to say breath. Mm-hmm. And the reason for it is because your breath generates oxygen that moves everything within your body, that allows you to move, that allows you to function, your vital organs, your mental health, everything. Mm. So focusing on your breath.
That's a good one.
That was a good question.
Thank you. And I just want to call out to everyone listening, like when you inhale, does your belly rise? Because that's true breath right there.
Yep.
A lot of us, Andrea mentioned it earlier, that your chest breath, that's how I breathe all day long until I really think about it. So when you're in the car, making this a habit has been life-changing for me of, okay, as I inhale, make sure my belly's rising.
Yep. Belly's rising, your rib cage is expanding out. Yep.
Yeah, because we suck in all day. So
all
it's
day.
like,
And no one teaches us this.
Yes.
No, I mean, think about it. We were, like born in the years of like Cosmopolitan and Teen Magazine, and like you were meant to suck it in, right? And like let it out.
Mm-hmm. Amen, sister.
That's why I wear stretchy pants.
See these jeans?
All right. My question has to do with just, obviously we barely know you and the listeners, most of them probably barely know you. What would be something that would surprise them as someone that is certified in coaching and training and nutrition? Like what would be something that would be surprising that you do in your own practices, like with your health?
Like in a good way or a bad way?
Yeah, either. Oh, but maybe one of each.
Oh. Okay, I'll start bad. I love.
It's like the trend, unfortunately, I do love.
Yeah, unfortunately, I do love sweets. Like, you give me a sweets and I'm like there. Chips and queso.
Oh now I'm hungry.
Yep, you're welcome. You are welcome. So on the other hand, the good side is I always joke with my family that I'm going to go sit in the closet. And the closet has become like my safe haven. And it started when my kids were little because they didn't know how to find me. And so I used to like take my plate upstairs when they were screaming, and I would just sit and eat my dinner in the closet. And it was like the 2 minutes that I got to myself where like a kid wasn't crying. And since then it's kind of became my safe haven. And so that's where I do some of my like breath work is like I sit in next to like my dirty laundry. It is not glamorous at all. But yeah, it's my 5 minutes to myself.
For yourself. I love that.
To myself, yeah.
And I think it's not glamorous, true healing, right? It's not what you see on Instagram. It honestly, for me, it's the opposite. It's sitting with coffee up my butt, and I'm not showing that on Instagram.
No, I don't think they want you to. I mean, you'd get a lot of views. No offense.
There's going to be
How bad do we want to go viral?
There's going to be an Extragram soon, and we're going to have Brooke with her coffee.
But I just mean it's it's not the picture perfect. It's for
sitting
me,
in a bikini in a sauna, which that is healing, but
But I'm dripping in sweat.
Like, yeah, you're dripping in sweat. You're next to somebody else who is like sitting there listening to music like way too loud, way too close to you, and you're like, I was supposed to be listening to like some podcast or something, and now I'm like focusing on the fact that you're breathing too loud. You know? Yeah, it's very messy. Same with like entrepreneurship, right? It's messy, and it's not what Instagram shows. And I think that's the hardest part, is healing is hard work, and I don't think it's ever done. Like if you're doing it the right way, you're always healing because you're always growing.
And staying in your own path, true path, but also your path. Can you speak on that? I'm going to ask a follow-up question here of what has helped you not compare to other people's healing journey? When you hear all of these tips and things online or just being shared, how do you really find, okay, this works for me and I need to get back on my own lane?
So I hate social media just in general for myself because I get sucked in like everybody else. I'll use this, I think, from more like an entrepreneur standpoint. But for me, like when I started my business, I focused so heavily on what everybody else was doing. I was like, I have to do it this way and I have to do this. And then this person connects with this and then you have to do this, right? And like, that's what you have to do in order to succeed. And that's how you get clients. And it's like,
which when you don't know what you're doing, you're trying to find information on what to do.
Yeah. But like for me, it wasn't like, I wasn't following the mission that I set out for myself. The mission I set out for myself was not to become this like global entity of any sort, right? It was literally to help the one person that walked through that door and was to help them become the better person for themselves and to make them feel better. It wasn't about me. So once I turned it off and it wasn't about me anymore, and I reminded myself of that, and I continue to remind myself of that, it gets easier. And that's when I know I'm following my true path. And the same thing goes for my health. When I make it less about like everything revolves around me, right? And like my own everything. And I go, okay, like I am one person in this world. And there are so many other people that are struggling so much more than I am, or so much more than my family is, with whatever dynamics that we have going on. It made me realize that like we can take on anything. Like we really can. Like, like there's, keeping up with the Joneses. And I was like, well, we can try keeping up with the Stoneses, but like we are who we are and it's going to be who it is, So come on over, like anybody's welcome, and we'll heal with you.
How freeing. And going back to your word of authentic.
Yeah,
for sure. I love it. Okay. I hate asking the last question because then it feels like it's over, but at least we can come into your office and we can follow you on socials. Yep. All right. Last question, Andrea. If you could go back and tell your younger self something, what age would you go back to and what would you tell her?
What age would I go back to? I think I would go back to college. And I would tell myself, you don't have to follow in the footsteps that you think you're supposed to follow, right? So like, I didn't know when I was in high school and college that you could do anything you wanted to do. I mean, my parents told me that, like, and I was very much told and guided that way, but I just thought I was supposed to do what I was supposed to do, right? And I didn't really realize that like, no, really, like you can do anything, like anything.
You're like, okay, what jobs are there? So I need to do that.
Yeah.
Like that's what
What's the right path?
Yeah. Exactly. That's exactly it. I was going for the right path, not the true path. Yeah. Right. And that's a really good way of phrasing it, is I was going for the right path, which the right path didn't lead me to the right end.
Yeah.
And only you get to decide what that true path is for you. Yeah, for sure. It takes the reflecting. I love that exercise. I want to invite everyone listening to do that, of take out a piece of paper, blank page. What is that word that makes you feel at peace?
Yeah.
Like you're not trying to prove something to the world. No. You feel calm and it just feels right. And maybe it takes a year to figure it out. But what a beautiful journey to find that word and then to start reverse engineering that word. Each category, okay, finances, how does that reflect it? My health, my relationships, what does that look like? Yep. That's powerful.
Yeah, absolutely.
I love it. I don't want to see you go. Thank you so much for coming here.
Thank you guys.
And sharing your story. I feel like hearing what people have been through and knowing like there's a whole nother level of resilience, and gratitude we can have for our bodies that can move. It's so perspective giving. And then stepping into entrepreneurship in the midst of motherhood, in the midst of health struggles, like, woo, There's a lot going on there. And I'm just hope you're proud of yourself.
Thank you.
And your studio's beautiful. We've been in there. We
you.
can't wait to come in again.
Thank
Check it
you.
out. Do some Pilates or just talk.
We can do anything.
Yeah. And how we end every episode is your piece of gold. So a quote that
Yes.
speaks to you. Would you sign us off with yours?
Mine would say, ordinary people can do extraordinary things.
This is Gold Ivy signing off.
Listen to your truth and go chase your gold and find your true path. We want to thank you and encourage you to celebrate yourself for taking the time to learn and get inspired in your one beautiful life. And if this podcast means something to you, it would mean so much to us if you'd be willing to take 30 seconds to help support our mission to keep bringing you inspiring stories and guests.
First, following the podcast is important because it helps you never miss an episode. To do this, just go to the Ivy Unleashed podcast show page on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you listen to podcasts, and then just tap the plus sign in the upper right-hand corner or click on follow.
While you're there, if you'd be so kind to give us a 5-star rating and review and share your favorite episode with a friend, we'd be so grateful for your support.
We are thrilled you're here and are so happy that you're taking time to prioritize your wellness, self-discovery, and growth with us. Additionally, we want to remind you that this podcast is presented solely for educational and entertainment purposes. We are not licensed therapists, and this podcast is not intended as a substitute for the advice of a physician, professional coach, psychotherapist, or other qualified professionals.